Hello, and welcome to the 2024 Annual General Meeting of the Canadian Association of Occupational Therapists. My name is Philip Wendt, and I'm the president of CAOT. Bonjour et bienvenue à l'Assemblée générale annuelle 2024 de l'Association canadienne des ergothérapeutes. Je m'appelle Philip Wendt, president de l'ACA. I'd like to get the event underway with a few housekeeping notes first. First, auto-generated closed captioning is available through your Zoom taskbar. So if you prefer to communicate in French, please change your language settings in the captions menu to French. If you have questions or concerns about the closed captioning or translation services, please put a note in the chat box and our team will offer assistance. Second, the AGM is also being recorded, and that recording will be available later this week. Now I want to start with a land acknowledgement, and we do this to remind ourselves of our colonial history and acknowledge the land where each one of us engages in our daily lives, as well as with the Indigenous peoples and ancestors who are here and have been the caretakers of this land for millennia. Now, land acknowledgements are an important first step towards honoring the original occupants here, and I encourage you to reflect and develop your own land acknowledgement statement if you have not done so already. It's an important step to building understanding in our history and towards reconciliation. Now, I also acknowledge that a singular land acknowledgement doesn't capture the full breadth of individuals who are attending the meeting today in this virtual platform. So I'll be writing two land acknowledgements, one for CAOT and then one for myself. And while I'm giving those land acknowledgements, I'd also invite you to type in your own acknowledgement to where you are situated should you wish. Now, as the CAOT staff are primarily based in Ottawa with an office there, CAOT acknowledges the traditional unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. The Algonquin peoples have lived on and taken care of this land for thousands of years. And CAOT further acknowledges the historical and current oppression of lands, cultures, and of the original people in what we now know as Canada, and strongly believes that the practice of occupational therapy can and will contribute to the healing and decolonizing journey that we all share together. And we're grateful to have an opportunity to be present in this territory. Now, for me personally, I want to acknowledge that I am situated on traditional Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee territory, and I'm simply grateful that I can exist as part of this land. And I'm also grateful that I can be here as a guest upon these traditional territories. So let us take a short pause so everyone can reflect on their own acknowledgement and relationship to the land and be grateful for the diverse Indigenous peoples and ancestors that have taken care of this land for centuries. Now, I also want to thank and acknowledge each one of you for taking the time to join us today, because we know that life schedules, everything is extremely hectic, extremely busy, and we're simply grateful that you chose time to participate with us today. I now have the pleasure of introducing CAOT's CEO, Hélène Sabarin. Hélène, à vous.
Merci Philippe. Bonjour à tous. J'apprécie énormément que vous preniez le temps de vous joindre à nous pour la rencontre annuelle. It is truly wonderful that you've made the time to join us for this meeting and important member touchpoint. I was looking at the registration list, and it is great to have so many people joining us from across the country. Thank you for being here, and merci d'être là. Before we begin discussing the highlights from last year, I think it is important to take a moment and applaud everyone in the occupational therapy community for all your hard work, dedication, compassion, and leadership. OTs and OTAs are making an invaluable contribution to our healthcare system, and together we are forging ahead to achieve greater impact than ever before. I am incredibly proud to be leading this organization.
100%, absolutely, Hélène, agreed. And yeah, my thank you to everybody as well, as professionals, as people. I'm I'm super pleased to be here celebrating occupational therapy. It's very near and dear to my heart. And celebrating OT across Canada and all the contributions that has advanced the profession over the past year. And thank you, Ellen, as well, and the entire CAOT team for continuing basically to connect all of us here, and in doing so, creating positive action, strengthening the voice of OT and the OT community. Now, to the business of the day. So this is a meeting for our members to review the association's performance from October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2023. And today we're focusing on good governance. We've got a number of important decisions to make with changes to our bylaws. The president and the CEO's report will highlight the association's activities in the first 6 months of the fiscal year. We'll also have an update from the team at Work-Life Harmony, who have been working with CAOT on the governance review project. We're also going to celebrate the contributions of some of our exceptional colleagues, and we'll announce the 2024 CAOT as we announce the 2024 CAOT award recipients. As well, we hope to have time at the end of the meeting for members to ask questions and offer feedback on CAOT priorities and operations. CAOT has already received a few questions by members in advance before the AGM, which we'll speak to. Our bylaws require that 50 members be present to attain quorum. Now, given that we don't have in-person hosted sites, we may have a mix of members who have logged in from personal computers or devices, and we may have some that are sharing workspace computers and whatnot. So what we need now is an accurate count of everybody on the call.
Selon nos statuts, 50 membres doivent être présents pour atteindre le quorum. Plusieurs membres se sont déjà inscrits et se sont connectés à partir de leur poste de travail personnel. Ce dont nous avons besoin maintenant, c'est d'un décompte précis de nos membres. Nous avons déjà noté votre présence avec votre inscription et encore une fois, merci d'avoir pris le temps de participer à notre assemblée générale annuelle.
So, if you are participating individually, we've already captured your attendance. If, however, you're participating at a site where there is more than one member, we'd like you to provide the final number of members in attendance. In the chat box, can one person please type your name and the total number of members with us, or with you today, and that includes yourself. Now, while we verify the count, I'd like to recognize our current board of directors, and because they work super hard as volunteers on behalf of all members to ensure that CAOT makes progress on our mission to advance excellence in occupational therapy in Canada. And your board is Lisa Diamond-Burchuk, the vice chair, Karen Judery, the treasurer, Sarah Burt-Hocko, secretary, Paulette Guitaud, director to the WFOT, Deborah Beach-Ducharme, the external director, Caitlin Dewhurst from the territories, Donna Dryden from British Columbia, Suzanne Lenvoy from Saskatchewan, Brenda Semenko, Manitoba director, Karen Ribeiro-Gruel, Ontario director, Nathalie Vayette, Quebec director, Debbie LeBreton, New Brunswick director, Mary Beth Fleming, Nova Scotia director, Yvonne Thompson, Prince Edward Island director, Danielle Hogan, Newfoundland and Labrador director. These are your board of directors. Now, in addition to board of directors, we also have several staff members on the call who are participating also in the national office, but also from their home offices around the country. Hélène Séverin, our CEO, who you've already met. We also have Suzanne Maurice, Director of Administrations. Mike Reed, our new Director of Finance in his first AGM. Welcome, Mike. José Seguin, Director of Knowledge Translation Programs. Allison Douglas, Director of Standards, Kristen Harold, Director of Communications and Marketing, Justine Jecker, Director of Professional Practice, Christina Lamatania, Professional Development Manager, and also our moderator in the chat section for today. Summer Jadiel, Professional Development Administrator, and Megan Stewart, our Executive Assistant. And speaking of Megan, Megan, can you confirm that we have reached quorum?
Hello, Philippe. Yes, we have.
Okay, excellent. That means everyone can breathe a deep sigh of relief. Whew. We've got quorum, everyone. So excellent. Let's get underway. So all AGM documents are posted in both official languages on the CAOT webpage, and you can view them by clicking on the Documents tab in the CAOT New Learning Management System, or LMS. That's the same place where you access the link for today's meeting. Now, today's meeting is going to be conducted primarily in English, however, with voting procedures and motions scripted in both languages. So, and during the question period, we'll be able to address both questions from members in French and English.
Merci Philippe. Tous les documents de l'Assemblée générale annuelle ont été affichés dans les 2 langues officielles sur la page web de l'ACE et vous pouvez les visionner en sélectionnant l'onglet Documents dans le nouveau système de gestion de l'apprentissage de l'ACE. C'est au même endroit où vous avez accédé au lien pour cette réunion. La rencontre d'aujourd'hui se déroulera principalement en anglais. Toutefois, la procédure de vote et les motions seront inscrites dans les 2 langues. Pendant la période de questions, je pourrai répondre aux questions de nos membres en français et en anglais.
I'd like now to explain the voting procedures for today's meeting. You will note the chat box on your screen. We will use that box to communicate. So please note that only CAOT members can vote. All others, including associates, have observer status. So when I call for a mover and a seconder, please type the word move and your name, unless you have already signed in with your full name. And I'll do my best to recognize the first member who does so as the mover and the second member who does so as the seconder. Now, once a motion has a mover and a seconder, I'll call for questions and comments. And if you have a question, please type your first and last name and your question or comment into the chat box. And the mover has the right to have their comment addressed first, and then the seconder. And then any further comments will be addressed in that order that they're received. So as chair, I have discretion regarding the length of the discussion, and I'll also do my best to ensure that the discussion is focused on the motion being voted on. So when I call the vote, if you're in favor of the motion, do nothing. If you choose to oppose or abstain the motion, please indicate your vote by typing the word oppose or abstain in the chat box. And if you're joining from a site with more than 1 member present, please type in the total number of eligible voting members that are opposed or have abstained in the chat box. So to be clear, if I do not see anything in the text messages in the chat box to oppose or abstain, I will assume that the voting members are in favor of the motion. If you abstain or oppose a motion and would like your name recorded in the minutes, please include the word record in the chat along with your abstain or oppose vote, as well as your full name. Now this year, we are voting on ordinary resolutions, as well as 1 special resolution with regards to bylaws. Now, in accordance with CAOT bylaws, an ordinary resolution will pass with a majority vote of 50 plus 1%, and a special resolution means it's a resolution passed by a majority of not less than 2/3. So for that meeting, actually, Megan, can I go back to you and ask, do we have a correct number on 50 plus 1 and 2/3 plus 1?
Yes, we do.
Okay, excellent. Good stuff, good stuff. Now I'll ask Ellen to repeat the instructions en français. Ellen, à vous.
Merci. J'aimerais vous expliquer certaines directives relatives aux procédures de vote. Vous verrez l'icône chat sur votre écran. Nous nous servirons de cette fonction pour communiquer. Veuillez prendre note que seuls les membres de l'ACE peuvent voter. Tous les autres participants ont un statut d'observateur. Lorsque le président demandera qu'une personne propose une motion et qu'une autre l'appuie, veuillez inscrire le mot « propose » dans la fenêtre de conversation et votre nom, sauf si vous êtes déjà inscrit avec votre nom au complet. Et le président reconnaîtra le premier membre qui le fera comme celui qui propose la motion et le deuxième membre comme celui qui appuie la motion. Une fois que la motion aura été proposée et secondée, le président demandera si les membres ont des commentaires ou des questions. La personne ayant proposé la motion a le droit que l'on réponde à ces questions ou commentaires en premier, suivi de la personne ayant secondé la motion, et ainsi de suite jusqu'à ce qu'on ait répondu à toutes les questions et tous les commentaires dans l'ordre où ils ont été reçus. Notre président a un pouvoir discrétionnaire quant à la durée de la discussion. Lorsqu'il demande le vote, les personnes en faveur de la motion n'ont qu'à inscrire leur vote. Donc, si vous êtes en faveur de la motion, vous ne faites rien. Nous demandons seulement aux personnes qui s'opposent à la motion ou qui s'abstiennent d'inscrire le mot « s'oppose » ou « abstention ». Si d'autres personnes qui sont avec vous dans la pièce s'opposent ou s'abstiennent, veuillez inscrire le nombre total de « s'oppose » ou « abstention ». Donc, pour être bien clair, si nous ne voyons pas les mots « s'oppose » ou « abstention » apparaître dans la fenêtre de conversation, pour indiquer que le membre s'oppose ou s'abstient, nous assumerons que le membre votant est en faveur de la motion. Si un ou plusieurs membres s'abstiennent de voter et veulent qu'on inscrive leur nom dans le procès verbal, s'il vous plaît, veuillez alors inscrire votre nom au complet dans la fenêtre de conversation. Cette année, nous voterons sur des résolutions spéciales, de même sur des résolutions ordinaires, de même que des résolutions spéciales en ce qui a trait au règlement administratif de la CE. En vertu de nos statuts, cela signifie qu'une résolution ne sera adoptée que si la motion est 50% des votes plus 1 pour une résolution ordinaire. Et pour la résolution spéciale, cela signifie qu'une résolution sera adoptée que si la motion obtient 2/3 des votes.
Excellent. Thank you, Hélène. So, may I have a mover and a seconder for the motion that the agenda be approved? Paulette Guittard move, Christine Fleming second. Excellent. Thank you. Are there any questions with regards to this motion? Okay, seeing none, I will call the vote. So all in favor, do nothing. If you're opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. Okay, the motion has been carried. Thank you, everyone. May I have a mover and seconder for the motion that the minutes of the annual general meeting held on Monday, March 20th, 2023 be approved? I believe that was Yvonne Thompson move, Paulette Guittard second. Thank you very much. Now, are there any questions and comments with regards to this motion? Okay, seeing no questions, I'll call the vote. Once again, all those in favor, do nothing. Opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. And motion carried. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you had a chance to review the annual report from last fiscal year. It's on the website in the About CAOT section. It's also posted with the AGM materials on the LMS. I would like to call the motion to receive the published materials for the annual report for the year ending September 30th, 2023. And given that we're already in March, I want to take the time for the next few minutes to also provide people with a few highlights from the first half of this membership year from October 2023 up until now. So may I have a mover and a seconder for the motion that the President and CEO's report be received? Cynthia move. And can I have a seconder? Sarah Burt-Hocko second. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Are there any questions regarding the annual report? I see Christine has just put the link there. We'll give it a minute. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, so I will call the vote on this. Once again, all in favor, do nothing. Opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. And motion is carried. Thank you, everybody. Okay. I'd now like to give an overview of the organization's activities since our new fiscal year began in October 1st, 2023. And because at CAOT, everyone here is committed to meeting diverse needs of OTAs and OTs across Canada by supporting continuous growth and development through a wide range of resources, empowering our members to excel their professional development, their personal endeavors, whatever you need to do to make yourself a better OTA and OT. Our team is proud to deliver a wide variety of professional development activities throughout the year, as well as new resources, podcast episodes, knowledge translation, and free webinars to support your career. We really understand the importance of staying informed and updated on the latest advances in our field. It's a fast-moving world. We want you to keep up and move fast with it. And I'm pleased to say we started OT Month 2023 off with the release of the Occupational Therapy TRC Joint Commitment Statement on September 30th. Now, this was developed with leadership from Occupational Therapy Canada, the TRC Task Force co-chair OTs, Angie Phoenix and Karina Valvera, as well as invited allies and representatives from CAOT's Board of Directors, COTF, ACOTPA, ACATRO, and ACATUP. The commitment statements represent a beginning step in embracing a shared responsibility by all Canadians to transform our colonial reality. This includes acknowledgements of the harmful colonizing narratives, policies, and practices in the Canadian occupational therapy profession, and a commitment to change within each organization's respective mandates. These important commitments offer a new path forward as we build upon the ongoing journey of reconciliation, and it's an encouraging first step as we acknowledge the truth in our complicity and seek to make a meaningful, diverse, meaningful difference in the lives of Indigenous people across Canada. We are also partnering with Métis artist Nicole Marsh, who has created a really dynamic image to accompany the TRC commitment statement. Another important project, the Joint Position Statement on Equity and Diversity, is nearing completion and will be launched at the CAOT conference later this year in May. It's been developed by a diverse group of occupational therapists with experience and work rooted in equity and justice. Now, our national advocacy team has also been busy amplifying your voice and pushing forward issues that matter to OTAs and OTs. We've participated in many meetings over the last 5 months with government officials, federal departments, and health partners to discuss the value proposition of occupational therapy and compellingly advocate for occupational therapy coverage in health plans. This includes attending meetings with many of the groups you see listed on the screen. That's a lot of words there. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can see them all there. We also sent in a 2024 federal government pre-budget submission with recommendations related to long-term care, to aging in place, mental health, inclusion of occupational therapy within healthcare plans, as well as a submission to the Standing Committee on Health study on the opioid and epidemic and toxic drug crisis. In addition, we attended meetings of the Organizations for Health Action, or HEAL, which is a coalition of 40 national health organizations, to ensure that the invaluable contribution of occupational therapists is understood and recognized. And now in one of her final acts is actually outgoing co-chair of HEAL, Ellen, along with Monique Lizon, CAOT's government relations manager, attended a meeting on December 7th with the Honorable Mark Holland, who is the Minister of Health. Ellen also had 2 op-ed pieces published in the National Post's health platform, healthing.ca, in November as well as February, that highlight both the role of occupational therapy and mental health and the need for team-based care in Canada that includes occupational therapy professionals. A virtual open forum on the non-insured health benefits, NIHB, and Jordan's Principle was held in November for OTs across Canada. Led by Monique, they discussed the many issues they're experiencing related to service barriers and finding potential solutions to those barriers. Eileen, Monique, and Angie Phoenix also met with a Jordan's principal official and a health policy lead to share and discuss challenges OTs have been experiencing accessing Jordan's principal funding and services. The meeting included sharing information from that forum I mentioned earlier, and CAOTs will continue to work with Jordan's principal to ensure OTs have access to information to support their practice. Now, CAOT's chapters have been very busy as the regional collective voices of occupational therapists in their respective provinces and territories. Now, starting with BC, following the proposed amendments to change the definition of occupational therapy in the Health Professions Act by the BC Ministry of Health, we have been advocating hard with BC occupational therapists since the changes do not describe the full scope of our practice or recognized advanced or restricted aspects of occupational therapy practice. That change could impact future occupational therapy roles and the care that occupational therapists that are allowed to provide in BC. Now, our efforts have included distributing an advocacy letter template to all BC members that was created by Anna Bronizer, Michelle Ferguson, and a collective OTs and OTAs. We've also been working with a group of BC doctors who requested support with a template letter to send to the Ministry of Health and other government officials. They're helping rally BC MDs to support OTs and address how occupational therapy is a vital part of the solution when addressing the growing mental health crisis in BC as well as across Canada. We also attended a virtual town hall organized by 4 amazing OTs, Dr. Skye Barbic, Jeanette Bodie, Dr. Ben Mortensen, and Patricia Mortensen, to discuss how OTs can respond to the proposed regulations. And thank you to all of the OTs in BC who attended and to everyone who is working hard together to send letters, to advocate, and get out the information out to your personal networks. And at the end of last year, we said goodbye to Tanya Fox and celebrated her amazing contribution as CAOT's BC Regional Director over the past 5 years. And we wish you well, Tanya, in your new roles. Also, we are pleased to announce and welcome Sarah Bishop aboard as the new CAOT BC Regional Director. And now actually, today is Sarah's first day in her new role. So first day, AGM day. Be nice, everybody. She has a long history of advocating for occupational therapy in BC, and that includes serving as the founding chair of the Pediatric Special Interest Group, volunteering with CAOT BC for more than 10 years. She has previously served on the First Nations Education Steering Committee, and she's been working as a home and community-supported living OT for Vancouver Coastal Health since 2006. She also has a private occupational therapy practice, providing weekly treatment and in public swimming pools to children with developmental disabilities. So welcome aboard, Sarah. Glad to have you. Up to the north, CAOT North continues to advocate for health and human resources solutions that represent occupational therapy professionals in the territories and discuss what can be done to improve their situation. Work also continues with the Yukon government's post-COVID-19 conditions working group, which has created resources and supports for those experiencing long COVID, as well as for their families, friends, and caregivers. I also want to wish Melissa Crossgree, CAOT North's Regional Director, all the best. She did move on to a new opportunity in October, and we're grateful for her dedication to our North members, her insight, as well as her continued leadership with the long COVID working group. And our team is currently working very closely with CAOT North's advisory committee during that transition time. And also that regional director position is posted currently online in case anybody's interested. Over to Quebec. Suella Bandelay, CAOT Quebec's regional director, has started a long COVID community of practice in partnership with the Ordre des Ergothérapeutes de Québec. This dedicated forum allows OTs to share their experiences, discuss key issues related to the rehabilitation of long COVID, foster best practices, and exchange relevant resources. Suella has also been actively involved with the Réseau International des Associations de Francophones d'Ergothérapie, the RIAFE, and has helped organize their conference in Belgium, which actually she presented at last month. Over to Saskatchewan. CAOT Saskatchewan Regional Director Christine Fleming has been working hard to support the creation of the first ever occupational therapy program in the province's history. These advocacy activities include raising awareness about the issue through media interviews, through sending letters to the editor, through attending question period at the Legislative Assembly of Saskatchewan in November 1st. Now, Christine was joined also by a delegation of health professionals advocating for the proposed occupational therapy program at the University of Saskatchewan. They met with the Premier of Saskatchewan, they met with the Saskatchewan Minister of Health, and with the Minister of Advanced Education. Now, currently, the program is being reviewed at the Ministry of Advanced Education. And we actually expect an answer on this later this week. So everybody, fingers crossed, toes crossed, send good thoughts, positive thoughts to Saskatchewan. And Christine has assured us, if they get a thumbs up on this, we're going to hear cheers and screams all around the country coming from Saskatchewan. So good thoughts to Saskatchewan, everybody. So I'm now going to pass things over to Lynn.
Merci, Philippe. I'm pleased to let you know that our membership numbers grew again during last year. We ended in 2023 with a total of 11,278 members from coast to coast to coast. Thank you to all our members that are being part of our strong OT community. We are also pleased that the new cost-effective monthly membership payment option continues to be well received, with more than 14% of renewing members opting into this option over the past year. As part of our practice resources, we've worked very closely with ACOTPA to release in 2023 the National Occupational Therapy Private Practice Fee Schedule this fall. The resource can be used to inform public stakeholders and better support advocacy efforts by provincial association. Thank you to all the private practice OTs who have helped us collect this very important information. Another initiative is the addition of Find OT expertise to our Find an OT website. This new feature allows OTs to self-identify as expert in a particular area of practice and identify their fee rate based on the work experience and expertise. We also launched a collection of resources about planetary health and sustainable occupations. And later this month, members will have access to a new resource of occupational therapy practice documents that has taken many months to create. Each document will focus on a different area of practice, such as the role of occupational therapy in acute care, chronic pain, dementia, forensic mental health, home modification, and many more. We expect to have more than 60 OT practice documents completed and posted on our website by the end of this year. CAOT's podcast is celebrating its second anniversary, and its diverse lineup of 35 socially accountable discussion with everyday working OTs across Canada. It has listeners in 41 countries and saw an increase of 233% in followers over the past year. Conversation That Matter, the podcast, is available on Spotify as well on CAOT's website. There are many topical episodes with something for everyone. Keep an eye out for our latest issue of OT Now, our practice magazine, which is coming out later this week. This special issue focuses on occupational therapy leadership and features a wide range of articles, including a cover story of Dr. Sukaina Dada, an occupational therapist who was named a finalist last year for the RBC Canadian Women Entrepreneur Awards. You may notice some changes with OT now. It has undergone a redesign process over the past year with a focus on storytelling, knowledge translation, inclusive language, and an increase in interactive content. After celebrating its 90th anniversary last year, the CAOT team has conducted a visioning exercise to imagine the next 90 years for the journal. We want to thank everyone who have participated as part of this visioning exercise.
Thank you, Ellen. And this fall, we released the final free webinar in a series of 4 videos about promoting occupational participation, collaborative, relationship-focused occupational therapy. Now, the 4th webinar is designed to support the integration of the new Canadian model, approach, and framework into your practice. As part of our knowledge translation mandate, work continues on a primary care project led by Kingston's own Catherine Donnelly in collaboration with CAOT, and they received a $150,000 grant from the Foundation for Advancing Family Medicine last year to develop a suite of online modules and resources to enhance the capacity of occupational therapy learners and practitioners to practice in collaborative primary care teams. We also collaborated with the Canadian Institute for Health Research and James Lind Alliance in a priority-setting partnership to identify the top 10 occupational therapy research priorities about musculoskeletal conditions and arthritis conditions. Now, as part of our commitment to steward and safeguard the profession, work continues to incorporate the new competencies for occupational therapists in Canada into the National Occupational Therapy Certification Examination, or notre. And that includes publishing the proposed blueprint on the notre website, recoding of the item banks, as well as new item generations. There are also discussions taking place with the Competency Coordinating Committee, the Certification Exam Committee, and the Exam Oversight Committee about the updated notre implementation. The exam committees have approved that the new exam will start September 2026. Important date, write it down, everybody. And that information is posted on the notre website. Now, an accreditation steering committee made up of members from CAOT, ACATRO, and ACATUP has been actively working with a project consultant, and they are currently examining university accreditation models to come up. Following approval for the new accreditation standards for occupational therapist assistants and physiotherapy assistant education accreditation program, a task force has been working to update the OT practice profiles to harmonize with the new competencies for occupational therapists in Canada. And the new competencies for occupational therapist assistants were approved by the CAOT board, and they were published on the CAOT website just last month. Also, hope everybody enjoyed the special activities that we offered for OT month in last October. Now, last year, we started a new annual campaign to light up the country to raise awareness about occupational therapy. So landmarks across Canada were bathed in blue light on World OT Day to highlight the contributions of our profession and what we've done in Canada since its inception nearly 100 years ago. We also celebrated Occupational Therapy Assistant Appreciation Day on October 12th to raise awareness about what OTAs do and the value they add every day. These celebrations included the launch of a dedicated OTA resource page on CAOT's website. I'm also pleased to announce that CAOT will be holding its 2024 conference in Kipuktuk, Halifax, from May 1st to the 3rd in a hybrid format again this year. Now, along with more than 200 presentations, this year's special events will include Dene artist Lisa Boivin as the featured speaker in the opening ceremonies, a plenary panel about artificial intelligence and occupational therapy, and the Muriel Driver lecture given by Dr. Gail Restall. The full conference program is available on CAOT's website, and there's still time to register at early bird rates, but just a few days, everybody. I think the deadline is actually March 20th, so you got 2 days. And we hope to see you there in May. Okay, now it's with mixed emotions that I announce that after much consideration and reflection, that Ellen has made the decision to retire from her position as CAOT's CEO. And Ellen has had an absolutely incredible career, of which that includes the past 5 years we have been lucky to have her at CAOT. She has been an excellent advocate for occupational therapy and for all of our members across Canada. She has led our team to accomplish so many significant milestones during her tenure. That include navigating extremely uncertain times created by COVID-19. She held our first post-pandemic conference in Whistler. She has given a steady year-over-year membership growth. She has been a part of the collaborative team of both of the last 2 strategic plans. Now, the board of directors and the executive committee has struck an executive search committee with a well-respected search firm in Ottawa to find CAOT's new CEO. We're targeting a summer transition, but Ellen has graciously agreed to stay on until we find the right person to ensure both a smooth transition as well as the continued success of the organization. Now that concludes our midterm update as part of the President and CEO's report. Now we'll have time, hopefully, for questions at the end of the meeting. And now back to the motions. May I have a mover and a seconder that the treasurer's report be received? Danielle move, Brenda second. Thank you for, sorry, Danielle Hogan and Brenda Semenko. There we go. Thank you both. Now, Karen Judery, CAOT's treasurer and chair of the Finance, Audit, and Risk Committee, is actually away right now. So I'd like to invite Nathalie Vayette, CAOT director from Quebec, as well as a member from the Finance, Audit, and Risk Committee to present the treasurer's report. Nathalie, à vous.
Merci, Philippe. Thank you, Philippe. Bonjour à tous. Good day, everybody. So after such a news, it's hard to go on with the financial report, but it is my duty, so I'll do it the best I can. So CAOT's accounts have been independently examined by the auditing firm Andrews & Company, and I am pleased to report that Andrews & Company outlined in the letter of findings regarding the audit that there were no significant risks identified, no matters arising, and they did not identify any control deficiencies. The detailed information is available in CAOT's audited financial statements for the year ended September 30th, 2023, as well as the financial summary that is published in the CAOT annual report. The financial statements have also been posted on CAOT's website. Overall, CAOT is in a stable financial position. Cash and investments for the year were $6,767,139 compared to $7,065,156 in the previous year. The $298,000 decrease is due to the investment in leasehold improvements and capital assets related to the new office space. CAOT revenues in 2023 were $5.78 million compared to $5.45 million in 2022. The $330,000 increase in revenue was due to an increase in exam, insurance, membership, and investment revenue. Exam revenue increased because an extra exam date was added to the schedule. There was a slight increase in new member practitioners, and investment income performed well. We also saw an increase in business development revenue, and this was from an increase in career advertising. Now to the expenses. Expenses for 2023 were $4.46 million compared to $5.02 million in 2022. Expenses for 2023 were $446,922 higher than 2022. This was due to an increase in rent and amortization of assets related to the new office space in national office operations, as well as hiring 3 new staff members, one in professional practice, a regional director for Saskatchewan, and 1 communication staff member. There was a cost of living increase for staff of 5%, and there was a compensation review. And as a result, there were some salary market adjustments. The excess of revenue over expenditures for 2023 was $319,719 compared to $436,831 for 2022. The unrealized gain in investments of $64,724 for 2023 and the unrealized loss in investments of $167,029 for 2022 resulted in the excess of revenue over expenditures for 2023 of $384,443 and $269,803 for 2022. A portion of the year's excess revenue is allocated to the internally restricted net assets outlined in the notes to the financial statements. CAOT increased its positive financial position at the end of 2022-2023 with an excess of revenues over expenses and a positive gain in net assets. CAOT is well positioned financially for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Is there any questions on CAOT's financial status?
We'll give everyone a minute here to type some questions if they have any. And Christina, as the moderator of the chat, let me know if there were any that had come in before. Okay, well, we've already got some congratulations, Nathalie. Okay, I think we'll move
So
then.
many numbers is challenging in a second language.
Oui, ce n'est pas facile.
Merci.
So excellent. Thank you, Nathalie. Now, actually, reminder that we still have a motion on the floor that the treasurer's report be received. So I'm going to, sorry, actually, wait just a sec. Hold on there. So there was a question from, how does CAOT plan to distribute the excesses, i.e. all saved or invested back into member services? And perhaps I can put that question over to Hélène and perhaps Mike. Hélène?
Merci, merci Tanya for the question. Every year, once we close our books, after our auditors have audited all of our financial statements, what we do, and we sit with the board, first of all, with the Finance and Risk Committee of the board, and then with the board. And any excess revenues, we follow policies in terms of reallocation of dollars. CAOT has reserve funds. For example, we have accreditation reserve fund where we have a policy where we have to reallocate any excess revenue into the accreditation reserve fund. The same goes for the exam reserve fund. We also have a special project fund where we have made decision to allocate money there. For example, that would have in the past would have supported the public awareness digital campaign, as well as the website that was developed for public members of the public. We have our centennial that is coming up right now, so we are, the special project fund will have some dollars for that special celebration. In the past, we've also used a special project fund to support the Truth and Reconciliation work, as well as our equity and social accountability work, and as well as our contribution to COTF. And basically any leftovers, we've also built our operating reserve, which was not very big. So right now we're working towards having 6 months of an operational reserve. And yeah, so that would be my answer. Thank you for the question.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Ellen. And we still have a motion on the floor. I haven't seen any other questions come in during Ellen's response. So I will call the vote. So all those in favor that the treasurer's report be received, do nothing. Opposed, type oppose, and abstentions, type abstain. And the motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. Now, to our next motion. Natalie, would you like to move that the auditor's report for the 2022-2020?
Yes, certainly. I'll move the motion.
Merci beaucoup. And may I have a seconder, please? Catherine Bachman seconds. Thank you, Catherine. Okay, Natalie, do you have any further comments from what you've already addressed in the treasurer's report regarding the auditor's report?
Not that I can think of, but I'd just like to remind everybody that they are welcome to ask further question, perhaps at the end of the meeting today, and it will be our pleasure to try to clarify those questions.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Any other questions from other members regarding the current motion of the auditor's report 2022-2023 being approved? Okay, I will now call the vote. All those in favor, do nothing. Opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. And motion carries. Thank you very much. Next, may I have a mover and a seconder for the motion that the board of directors be authorized to establish the remuneration for the auditors for the year 2023-2024? Paulette moves. And Debbie LeBreton seconds. Thank you, Paulette and Debbie. Are there any questions regarding the current motion to establish remuneration for the auditors in the year 2023-2024? Okay, seeing no questions, I'll call the vote. All in favor, do nothing. Opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. And motion has carried. And may I have a mover and a seconder to appoint Andrews and Company as the auditors for the fiscal year 2023-2024? Lily Lynn has moved, and may I have a seconder, please? Mary Beth Fleming has seconded. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Any questions regarding this motion? Oh, excellent. Yeah, Catherine, question, how often or how frequently does CAOT change auditors? So I might ask Natalie and or Ellen if either of you want to
I can
speak to
jump
that.
in. I can jump in. Thank you for the question, Catherine. So when I started at CAOT, we were with a different firm. We did an RFP in 2019. So we moved to Andrew & Co's. We did an RFP just last summer. We were going to change auditing firm, but because we have a new accounting system, we wanted to stay with one more year with the firm, and this was a recommendation that we did and a conversation at the Finance and Risk Committee of the board, due to the fact that we had Karen Tittenell, our Director of Finance, that retired just this past January. And given we have a new accounting system, we wanted to stay with Andrew & Co. one more year because they understand our books. But we will do an RFP again this year for the next fiscal. Thank you for the question.
Excellent. And seeing no other questions while Ellen was answering that question, I'm going to go ahead and call the vote on this. So all those in favor, do nothing. Opposed, type opposed. Abstention, type abstain. And motion has carried. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Natalie and Mike and everybody in the finance department. Your work is all very much appreciated. Next up is a motion that the CAOT bylaws number 5 be approved. I'd like to now invite Sarah Berthako, who is our secretary as well as the chair of the governance committee, to say a few words. Sarah.
Hello, everyone. While we recognize that CAOT is currently undertaking a governance review process, which may impact the bylaws, the CAOT board believed it was important to proceed with a review at this time to address 2 issues: the inclusion of occupational therapist assistants as voting members, as well as the inclusion of an Indigenous occupational therapist director on the board, given our TRC commitment statement approved in 2023. The CAOT bylaws were reviewed and updated by legal counsel to ensure they met the Canada Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. Changes were brought forward for discussion and approval by the CAOT Governance Committee and the CAOT Board of Directors. In the materials circulated for the AGM, you will see a version with track changes and a clean version in both English and French. The majority of the changes included tidying the bylaws as well as to make the document gender neutral. I would like to highlight the 2 substantial changes to the bylaws, which are: first, we added occupational therapist assistants as part of the class of membership that you will find in section 5.01D. Including OTAs as part of the class of membership means they have the right to vote at all meetings of members. The other change is the addition of an Indigenous occupational therapist director as part of the CAOT board composition in section 7.03D, with qualifications under section 7.08. These changes were recommended and approved by the CAOT Governance Committee and the CAOT Board of Directors. We are now bringing the revised bylaws for approval by members. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. So may I have a mover and a seconder for the motion? And I see Karen Rubio-Gruel has moved and Rona Anderson has seconded. Thank you very much, both of you. Now, actually, before the vote, I would like to actually, if it's okay with the movers and seconders, to invite Deborah Beach-Ducharme, the board's external member, to say a few words. And Deborah, good to see you.
Hi there. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to this motion. So I've been on the board now. This is my 2nd year. And there was actually the task force on the Truth and Reconciliation that was in place prior to my arrival, which I think is very progressive on the board's behalf. And what I just want to say about this motion, to me, it's very progressive, and I believe it's going to address many of the issues that we've been encountering with regards to responding to the TRC calls to action, in particular the areas in education and health, and really to close the disparity that exists between mainstream society and Indigenous people, the First Nations of this country, to close that gap that exists. And I believe the board needs an ongoing representation that would have knowledge and expertise in the area of moving forward and closing that gap. And I think right now we're always struggling to try and find people and who have expertise to help us deliver on the recommendations that were made on behalf of the task force. And I'm here to answer any questions that people might have.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Deborah, for the opening statements there. It's very much appreciated for people. I see that there are some questions. They are, let's see, related to section 501, 505, and 5014. Well, Deborah is on and open on the line. Are there specific questions related to section 7? This is related to the Indigenous director position. Okay, we'll move to some of the other questions, but I really want to say thank you so much, Deborah, for your wise words that now, but also every time we see you in the board meetings too. It's very much appreciated. Okay, so we'll move. There's a few other questions regarding 5.01.A. What is the current ratio of OTA to OT in CAOT? Going to ask our membership team, or maybe to actually just ask to go to Ellen if there's a specific, if you have a count on that.
So the exact count, we probably have about 50 OTAs that are members of there we go. 50
Thank you.
OTAs members as part of CAOT. We know that there are a lot more OTAs across the country because there are several OTA PTA programs. However, because we don't capture that data, it's very hard to know the total numbers. But in terms of membership, we've got 50.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. And actually, while you're still have the mic open, another question. Does this mean that retired members, students can no longer be members of CAOT? What about members who leave to work in another country for a few years but want to maintain their CAOT membership?
We have a category for retired members, and we also have a category as part of CAOT membership that is non-practicing in terms of membership as part of CAOT. I hope that has answered the question.
So yes, that shouldn't impact the retired members and the students, correct? Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in at this point. Oh yeah, and that is Paulette is just confirming that doesn't change status for the other groups with the revised bylaws, just to confirm that as well. Thank you, Paulette. And Margaret Thompson's got a new suggestion. The new suggestion that a member who fails to maintain any qualifications for membership described in 5.1. I'm not sure what if the question in there, Margaret.
I can answer, Philip. It's
Okay.
basically related to our class of membership for the for voting. So so those, we have the OTA class of member and now the OTA. Sorry, OTs and now OTAs in terms of voting, but CAOT will maintain its membership category for retired OTs and non-practicing OTs. We will maintain that those categories as part of our membership through CAOT.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ellen. Okay, seeing no more questions that are coming in right now, I'm going to go ahead and call the vote on this. So once again, thank all those in favor that the bylaws number 5 be approved, do nothing. Any opposed, type opposed. Abstentions, type abstentions. Okay, motion has carried. I see one abstention. Just to confirm, if you want that to be recorded, to make sure to put your type record with your name next to that. All right, motion carries. So I'd like to invite Sarah Burt Hocko again up as a secretary and the chair of the governance committee to report on election results.
So in keeping with CAOT's bylaws, members are asked each year to put forward the names of worthy colleagues to fill vacant board positions. The CAOT board is comprised of directors from each province and one of the territories, a WFOT director, an external director, a president, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. A call for nominations is extended in early October with a December 1st deadline. A constituent election is held if there is more than one eligible candidate. This year, we held an election for the Saskatchewan director position, and the other positions were filled by acclamation. Successful candidates are put forward in a motion to elect at the annual general meeting. Today, we are electing positions for Alberta, Saskatchewan, external director, secretary, and vice chair. I'll pass things back to Philip to take you through the motions to elect new directors to the board.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Sarah. Now we have several motions to get through to elect successful candidates, and I appreciate patience on this as what seemed like a little bit of a repetitive process, but it does confirm the electoral process with things. And noting the time, actually, we are behind. So I'm going to go a little quickly on this. So feel free to have your fingers at the ready to say, wait, slow down, stop, whatnot, because I'm going to go maybe a little bit quick here to see if we can recuperate and capture some time. So first, may I have a mover and a seconder that Deborah Beach Ducharme be reappointed as external board director October 1st, 2024 for a 3-year term of office. Ann Bozers moved, Danielle Hogan seconds. Any questions? I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor do nothing. Oppose type oppose. Abstain type abstain. And the motion is carried. Congratulations, Deborah. May I have a mover and a seconder that that Jesse Zayad be appointed Saskatchewan director October 1st, 2024 for a 3-year term of office? Moved by Suzanne Lenvoy, seconded by Kimberly Bitts. Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor do nothing. Oppose type oppose. Abstain type abstain. And motion has carried. Congratulations, Jesse. May I have a mover and seconder that Sarah Burt Hocko be reappointed board secretary October 1st, 2024 for a 2-year term of office? Moved by Mary Beth Fleming, seconded by Debbie LeBreton. Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. So all those in favor do nothing, opposed, type opposed, abstain, type abstain. Excellent, motion has carried. Congratulations, Sarah. May I have a mover and a seconder that Nathalie Vayette be appointed as the vice chair October 1st, 2024 for a 2-year term of office, moved by Paulette Guittard and seconded by Danielle Hogan. Thank you very much. Any questions? I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor do nothing. Opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. And the motion is carried. Congratulations, Nathalie. May I have a mover and a seconder that Susan Mulholland be appointed as Alberta Director with a term to begin immediately following the March 18th, 2024 AGM and concluding on September 30th, 2025. Now that is to fill a retired board member position until the end of the term, in case people wanted to know. Mover and Bossers, seconder Shanna Ismail. Thank you very much. Questions? Okay, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor do nothing. Opposed, type oppose. Abstentions, type abstain. And motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we got through all those. Thank you.
Sorry,
Oh, Ellen, over to you. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Okay, so thank you, Philip, for helping us through the series of motion. So I'm very proud to present your board of directors for 2024-2025. And I want to take a moment to thank those joining as well as those continuing with the board. This includes acknowledging Deborah Froese, who had to step down as our Alberta board director due to unforeseen circumstances late last year. Thank you, Deborah, for your dedication to CAOT. And it was a pleasure working with you. And following the call for nomination, we are welcoming Jessie Diziad for Saskatchewan and Susan Mulholland for Alberta as new directors, as well as Deborah Beach Ducharme and Sarah Burt Hocko, who have been re-elected respectively as the external board director and secretary on the CAOT board, and Nathalie Vayette, who have been elected as vice chair. I look forward to continuing working with you all.
Okay, we're now going to hear from Lisa Diamond-Burchuk, Vice Chair of the Board and Chair of the Awards Committee, and your incoming president for this fall. Lisa, over to you.
Thanks, Philip. Okay, let me know if you can't hear me. I'm pleased to join you with the happy task of announcing this year's award recipients. The call for nominations for CAOT Awards, including the Golden Quill Award, is now open year-round and has a December 1st deadline, so get your nominations in. The awards committee evaluates submissions and submits recommendations for approval by the board in February, and we announced the award winners today, which we are pleased to do. The award recipients will be honored at the award ceremony at the CAOT conference in Kipuktuk, Halifax in May. So I'm going to jump right in. The first award is the Leadership in Occupational Therapy, which is awarded to Sarabji Charshun. Sarabji is a positive force in the profession as someone who ensures the well-being and success of everyone around her by providing encouragement, guidance, and being a sounding board. She is kind, approachable, and fair in her interactions and has made a significant impact by creating a genuinely collaborative work culture at Surrey Memorial Hospital, and her influence transcends the boundaries of her department and hospital in her practice, teaching, leadership, and occupational therapy promotion contributions. We are pleased to award the Fellowship Award to Sandra Moll, who is being recognized for her many accomplishments, which include clinical, education, publications, and research contributions that have led our profession in important directions and demonstrated the important work of OTs in mental health and health promotion. She has served our profession for 35 years. making contributions to post-secondary education, policy, health promotion, and delivery of health services. The Life Membership is awarded to Marie Easton Klatt, who has greatly influenced the OT profession and the hand therapy specialization in Canada and beyond through her innovative clinical practice and generous and collaborative leadership in rehab settings and professional organizations, and through her dissemination of knowledge. Her vast experience and contributions to the profession makes her a deserving recipient of this award. The Innovative Practice Award is awarded to Marnie Courage. Marnie is a passionate advocate for protecting and promoting the occupational therapist role in conducting home assessments, particularly in accessible home modifications. Through her role as accessibility and inclusion strategist at Inclusia, she is leading and developing courses that will assist in the advancement of OT clinical practice in this area. She created and conducted a home modifications course available through CAOT, which is quickly becoming a highly desired area for additional training due to an aging Canadian population and advancements for aging in place policies and planning. Marnie's work on assessment tool development, accessibility policy, education for a wide variety of stakeholders, and her long-standing respected position at both local and national levels demonstrate her commitment to innovation in the role of occupational therapists. Next up is the Awards of Merit, and we have 3 winners this year. First is Karine Klein. Karine is a proud Cree woman from Norway House Cree Nation in what is now known as Manitoba on Turtle Island. Karine's demonstrated leadership and dedication to improving the health of First Nations people and communities are exemplary of excellence in contribution to occupational therapy, clinical activities, education, and community service. She has worked within and beyond the occupational therapy community to increase knowledge and understanding of the importance of enhancing cross-cultural understanding and cultural safety for First Nations people in our health and educational systems. Karine does this work with utmost humility and respect. Our second award of merit goes to the members of the Home Modification Task Force, Marnie Courage, Janet Craig, Lesia Disk, and Tanya Fox. The Home Modification Task Force is being recognized for their significant accomplishment and contribution in home modification advocacy and promotion, building OT capacity, partnerships, and collaborations. They also represented CAOT on different committees and within the media, and their contributions have been remarkable. Last but not least for the Award of Merit is Catherine Vallée. Thanks to her tremendous leadership skills, Catherine was able to ensure that the education of occupational therapists across Canada has continued. Her work behind the scenes was pivotal in keeping academic education and the accreditation program running through difficult times. And it is because of her dedication and leadership that accreditation has continued to thrive, and by extension, OT education nationally has weathered some difficult storms and is navigating forward with strong proposals to ensure that students, faculty, funders, decision makers, and employers have confidence in the education programs. Next, we have the Golden Quill Award, which is awarded to April van der Veen and Debbie LaLiberté-Bredman for their CJOT article, Rethinking Driving Against Medical Advice, The Situated Nature of Driving After Stroke, which was published in 2022. The committee agreed that this article is outstanding regarding its level of scholarship and how they make an important and significant contribution to the literature. This article was perceived as informative and transformative by occupational therapy members and the committee. Now we have the COTBC Outstanding OT Award of the Year with Sky Barbic. Sky is a role model for all of us, and she has worked tirelessly to champion the client experience and has successfully led a culture shift towards a health service where success is measured and driven according to what is important to clients, rather than basing success on clinical measurements alone. In light of her dedication to this cause and the wide application of her research, not to mention the direct impact that her work with Foundry is having on the lives of young people in BC, Sky is most deserving of this award. The CAOT Quebec Outstanding OT of the Year goes to Nathalie Bière. Natalie is being recognized for her exceptional contribution to the profession, both in terms of her commitment to the profession and her dedication to the training of OT students, which makes her a great candidate for this award. She's made a name for herself in Quebec and internationally with her research program dedicated to home support for elderly people with pathological cognitive aging, as well as her contributions to OT teaching. CAOT North Outstanding OT of the Year is awarded to Jana McLaughlin. Jana's research focuses on supporting the foregrounding of Inuit knowledge in health and social services offered to Inuit individuals and communities. She was awarded a 2-year Banting postdoctoral fellowship through which she is working on a program focused on reconnecting Inuit women and child victims of violence with Inuit knowledge. She is an advocate for OTs across the North and has worked with Ngomazwin Health Services and the government of Nunavut as an OT. The CAOT Saskatchewan Outstanding OT Award goes to Ashley Springer, who is recognized for her proactive efforts in establishing partnerships with community settings that may not traditionally employ an OT as part of their team. Ashley goes above and beyond to impart not just knowledge, but also a genuine enthusiasm for OT, and her dedication to cultivating the next generation of OTs has been meaningful in fostering a positive environment for her students. Next, we have the CAOT Citation Awards, which are in conjunction with many of the provincial societies, associations, and chapters, but we would like to mention them here today. So CAOT BC, the Citation Award is going to Art Studio. For CAOT North, Western Arctic Youth Collective. For CAOT Saskatchewan, the Montreal Lake Child and Family Agency. For MSOT, to Karina Bloomgren. The NBAOT to Don Breedner. NBAOT is also going to John Murray Buck. We can have 2 per province. The NLAOT is going to both End Homelessness in St. John's and also to Exceptional Connections Newfoundland. The NSSOT awards are going to Vicky Levac and Dalhousie University Office of Environmental Health and Safety. And for OSOT, we have the Journey Home Hospice. Next, we have the Fieldwork Educator Award recipients. For UBC, Sarah Mills. University of Alberta, Angelina Alex. University of Manitoba, Kayla Moberg Hyde. Western University, Kirsten Smith. McMaster University, Nicholas Morrison. University of Toronto, Stacey Zamet. Queen's University, Ellie Smith Lambert. University of Ottawa, Doreen Toll Sullivan. Université de Montréal, Anne-Julie Nagoran. Université Laval, Anne-Marie Sinot. McGill University, Bianca Abbat. Université de Sherbrooke, Chantal Doré. Dalhousie University, Andréane Ojolek. Université de Québec à Trois-Rivières, Alexandra Jean. This year, we will be awarding the Helen P. Levenskant Award to Deborah Cooper. Deborah's exceptional contributions have significantly benefited the profession of CAOT through her strong work in collaboration, mentorship, and professional development among OTs and OT assistants, which has profoundly impacted the occupational therapy assistant profession. And last but certainly not least, I am pleased to announce that we have a recipient for the Muriel Driver Memorial Lecture, but we'll all have to wait until the award ceremony at the CAOT conference in Halifax on May 3rd. I hope you will all join us there to listen to this year's recipient, Gail Restall, and to find out who next year's recipient will be. Thanks, Philip.
Okay, excellent. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Congratulations to everybody. This is just the funnest part of the AGM, is just watching all the things that everyone, all the congratulations and all the hearts and all the clapping and everything. That's just great, everybody. It's really good. So we'll move on here. Now, we've got, if it's okay, I'm going to slightly move up because I want to make sure we have all of our agenda items covered within the time here. Agenda item A240311, just announcing the date of the next meeting. I just very want to quickly, while everyone is still here, because I'm aware of the time in 5 minutes, that everyone is aware that we will have our next AGM on Monday, March 17th, 2025. So hope to see you then. We'll cover the fiscal year 2023 to 2024 at that time. So I just want to get that off, check that off of the list while we're still in our time frame here. Going back now to agenda item 2024-0309, other business. I want to invite Nora Spinks and Sarah McNall from Work-Life Harmony to give us an update on the CAOT Board Governance Review that began in 2023. Nora, Sarah, I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you so much, Philip. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you today. Want to begin our presentation with a big thank you to everybody who contributed to the success of this project. In particular, all of you that gave us your time and attention on the surveys and a number of other activities, to the team at CAOT, to the governance committee, and to the board. As you're aware, this project began in preparation for the 100th anniversary in 2026. The process had a number of steps, and the process is as important as the product. So we looked at all kinds of documents. We did literature reviews outside of CAOT. We conducted interviews and had one-on-ones and groups. We did the survey. We did a design thinking session following all of that. And we did a SOAR analysis. Some of you may be more familiar with the traditional SWOT analysis, which is used strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats when a process is undertaken to fix something. This process is a growth process. It's not to fix anything that's broken. So we used a SOAR analysis: strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. And then we did a roundtable with those that had more that they wanted to contribute to the process. All of that culminated into analysis, synthesis, reflection, and a final report. So the survey was launched in December of 2023. We had 200 individuals respond. Clearly a strong desire for those that are interested in governance, which, to be honest, is never a big proportion of any organization. And we were quite pleased to see that people were interested in CAOT on this matter. Their advocacy is critically important, particularly at the local level. Geographic perspectives are important. Directors need relevant skills as well as geographic and diversity perspectives in order to be successful in their various roles. The board should be primarily comprised of OT and a few from the outside, but the bulk should remain on the board, should be OTs. That there is value in the chapters, the practice networks, and the communities of practice. Although not everybody knows the difference between those things, but clearly once you belong, it's important to you. And that networking and learning is a big part of the experience. So in terms of learning, CAOT has a solid base of governance, dedicated leadership. Members are compassionate and passionate. They support the evolution and are quite comfortable having conversations about what CAOT will look like going forward. Although there is some reluctance to change status quo. So whatever changes do occur, we don't want to throw out the good with any kind of change, and that the change be evolutionary, not revolutionary. And so the next steps in the process, we'll share the final report with the board. We will then have a special meeting of the members to discuss the final report. And we're aiming for that to be sort of mid-April. And then there will be a discussion and a vote by the board of directors for any changes that may come out as a result of the process. And then that result will be communicated out to members on the outcome of the governance review in May of 2024. We did receive a couple of questions in advance of today's meeting, but most have been answered already in the bylaw discussion. So I'm just going to end it there with a big thank you to everybody who participated. It's always a pleasure working with CAOT.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Nora. Appreciate all of the work that everyone's been doing with this. I appreciate all of the feedback we've been getting during this period of governance review. So thank you, everyone. I am aware that we are pretty much hitting the 1:30 Eastern time zone time limit here. So I do want to mention that and say if people do need to leave, so simply say thank you very much. We appreciate you spending time with us today. We're going to hit our last area of the Q&A just as we hit the 1:30 time mark here. So what I'm hoping is that maybe we can put in just another 10 minutes or so to get a few more questions in. And we had a number of pre-submitted questions. Christina, do you have the list of some pre-submitted questions that have already come in?
Yes, I can start with some pre-submitted questions. The first one that came in is asking, what is the possibility of creating an OTA position on the board?
Yes, that's an excellent question. It's something that we're kind of taking a look at. Obviously, we have the governance review process right now, so we're really looking at all options about best ways to have representative governance and what is the best ways to structure that. And as you just saw from Nora, in terms of the timeline on things, we as in the board will be receiving a report from them next month, and then we'll be discussing this later at our in-person meeting at the end of April. So yeah, at this point, I don't have any news to share exactly, but yeah, the due process is happening currently with that. Ellen, is there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
No, that covers it. Thank you, Philip.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Christina?
Thank you. The next question is from Sharon, who would like to better understand how the funding of the chapter model works. Do the fees that CAOT members / non-chapter model province OTs pay go to support chapter staff based in these provinces, which has a CAOT chapter?
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Christina. That's definitely an operations type of thing. So Ellen, I'll just turn that right over to you.
Okay, thank you for the question. CAOT's annual chapter fees are used to cover the cost of staffing support within the chapter and other related expense, and they've remained at the same level since 2012. The CAOT team supports all chapters as well as provincial association members in all regions. So with the governance review work, we are going to take a look at our chapter model and how we can best meet the needs of the evolving chapters for meeting the needs of the member OTE and OTAs in Canada.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Ellen. And Christina, are there more sent in submissions?
Yes, and I'm continuing to monitor the chat box
Mhm.
as well, the chat box and the Q&A. So those of you who wish to ask a question live, you're welcome to submit it there. The next question submitted ahead of time from Mary is asking what developments are planned for the national competency exam with the update to the competency framework.
Oh, yes, I think that was covered in terms of the exam date is going to be September 2026. The new exam is going to be officially unveiled and ready to go.
Thank you. The next question submitted ahead of time from Deborah is asking, could you please provide an update on OTA inclusion in CAOT? And are there any OTA related resources being developed as per previous discussions?
Yes, absolutely. In terms of an update, I guess in some ways, a similar question about OTA representation in governance, and that's certainly a piece of things that we're looking at to be determined, to be continued on that discussion, but it's actively there. In terms of resources, I know, well, I can just say personally too, oh my gosh, when I work, I so value Tony, the OTA. I can't, there's so much I can't do unless Tony's there to help me as the OTA. For CAOT, I know we have our OTA resource webpage on our websites, but I'll maybe turn over to Ellen for some of the specific resource sides of things.
Yes, so with OTA Appreciation Day during the OT month 2023, we've launched dedicated OTA webpage on the CAOT website. And these resources are updated regularly. As you mentioned, Philip, we also have recently launched the new competencies for occupational therapist assistant. We do have 2 episodes of OT Conversation That Matter, the podcast that explore the OT and OTA partnership, and how to build capacity in occupational therapy services delivered by OTA, as well as information about the OTA PTA practice networks. So we will continue to monitor and see how we can add additional resources to support OTAs. And very soon, the professional development team will be doing a survey of members' need in terms of professional development. So that will also be an opportunity for members to share about what they feel are the most important needs. Thank you.
Excellent, thanks. And Christina, other questions, comments?
Thank you. The next question submitted ahead of time is asking, what action steps is CAOT hoping to take in the next year in relation to truth and reconciliation?
Certainly. Ellen, actually, I'll throw you right back to you there.
Yes, thank you for the question. So I'm very grateful for all the work that Angie and Karina, as co-chair of the TRC task force, have done since 2019. They've done amazing work. So very grateful for that. In terms of, as well as, you know, board directors that have been involved as part of the TRC task force. We had Giovanna Boniface while she was president, was part of the task force. And then we have Karen Rubourg, Deborah Beach Ducharme. Oh la la, I'm blanking. I'm so sorry. I'm
Lisa was on as well.
Lisa Diamond Birchuk. Sorry about that, Lisa. That have also done amazing work. So Angie and Karina provided their last report as we were closing the task force in November 2023. Following that, the board had a fulsome facilitated discussion, half-day discussion in terms of looking at the Truth and Reconciliation commitment statement that was signed by all organizations, so CAOT, ACOTUP, ACOTRO, ACOTPA, and COTF, which was launched on September 30th. So we had a fulsome conversation about, now that we've signed on these commitment statement, what is it that CAOT needs to do in terms of embedding within its strategic plan and operational plan to continue supporting this work and to enact our commitments towards truth and reconciliation. Following that fulsome conversation, we also met in January. We met with Angie and Karina and talked about the action plan that we are developing to validate, add to the action plan that CAOT is developing. So we've incorporated their feedback. One of our important next step was including having an Indigenous OT as part of the CAOT Board of Directors. And we also are looking to have a staff Indigenous person part of the CAOT team. all important action that we are working on in terms of our next steps.
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn. I'm looking at the time, or it was we're 9 minutes over. I'm wondering, Christina, can we take maybe one more question? And then for all questions that we didn't get to, either that were pre-submitted or if there are more that are in the chat box here, the team, we are going to get back to everybody via email. And thank you for the support and cooperation with that. But I'm aware that everybody's time is extremely valuable. So Christina, maybe one more question?
Thank you. As a final question, also submitted ahead of time, are there any significant challenges that CAOT is facing in the coming year?
Yeah, that is a good question. Significant challenges in terms of well, we are a profession that is always struggling for our identity, and so we'll keep on working on that. And that is a fight that we know well, and we're going to very well prepared to take up and continue to work with, just in the environment. Needing to make sure that we maintain our relevance of who we are and what we do. And needing to maintain our relevance to our members and who we are and what we do, and making sure that we have good representation so we can continue to do the things that our members want and need from us is probably one of the big things that I sort of see. I'll pass it over to Lynn.
Thank you, Philip. I think one of the challenge that we are facing, and I think we've been facing it in the last few years, I think it will be very important for all of us to continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn in terms of our truth and reconciliation journey. We will, at times make mistakes, but we are wanting to learn, and we want to be able to co-construct and be supportive as we are on that journey. We have had structures and processes and policies in place that all need to be looked at in order to adjust and stay true to our commitment statement. And it's hard work. Nobody said that it would be easy work. We're very grateful for our Indigenous occupational therapists, therapist assistants who are walking with us along that journey, helping us to the allies as well. And we're very committed to continuing on the journey. Also, talking about the equity, diversity, inclusion, accessibility, how we continue to make progress there to ensure that we are meeting the needs of the members, to make sure that CAOT embeds justice, equity, diversity, inclusion in all of its activities, policies, and whatnot. So I think it's not an easy journey, as I will say, and we are looking to find ways to do more training internally with staff with regards to truth and reconciliation, with regards to EDIA, as well as with the board. And we know that as members, you will reach out to let us know how we're doing, and we want to continue to receive your feedback. And we're happy that you are engaged in the work that we do, because we can't do it without you. So thank you.
And thank you, Ellen. Okay, we are now at 13 minutes over, and all of the business on the approved agenda has been concluded, so I'm now going to officially adjourn the meeting. As I say, we'll be looking to contact people via email for questions we didn't get to in the chat section today, if there are some. Please let us know. Let us know how CAOT can support your practice in the weeks, days, years, months ahead. So officially adjourn the meeting. We will see you on March 17th, 2025. Stay well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, and merci beaucoup.
Merci, Philippe. And I would like to say thank you to everyone that participated and submitted your question in advance. reach out to us. And I want to say a special shout out to the team at CAOT, an amazing team. So special thank you for all your support and contribution to the work of CAOT and to this AGM. Thank you. Merci beaucoup à tout le monde.
Bye, everyone.